Okay, hi grade 10s. I just want to go over the chloroplast models that I have as well as the diagram. All right, so for example, I've got this model that one of the grade 10s made a couple of years ago, and you can see here that they've got an outer and an inner membrane, chloroplast wall, all right, and then inside there's these little membranes as well, and those are the thylakoids or the melee. They are stacked one on top of each other like this, so that would be a granum. Okay, they could have maybe put them closer together. So there are 1, 2, 3 grana inside this chloroplast. Now, it's also got its own DNA. So there's the little DNA molecule that they made. And the little green dots at the back there, those are the ribosomes. And then they've got little polystyrene beads to represent the starch granules and bigger yellow colored beads to represent the oil droplets. So the rest of this would be the stroma. So there's cytoplasm on the outside, jelly-like cytoplasm, and there would be a watery jelly-like substance in the inside as well. So that's quite a nice model. Now, I can make one as well. So I've got 2 plastic bags. So those would represent the membranes. Okay, and I'm going to put them one inside the other like that. Okay, and then over here, I've got a little bowl full of things. Okay, so these little yellow polystyrene chips, they represent the thylakoids or the melee. And you need to imagine that they're actually painted green because the chlorophyll is only found on the membranes, and those membranes are stacked on top of each other. So there will be lots of them inside the chloroplast. Let's get some more. There. One. And one more. So now I've got 2 little stacks of thylakoid membranes. And if you remember, one stack is called a granum, but there are 2 here, so 2 grana. So I can put that, okay, first of all, you've got to imagine there's cytoplasm around here, a jelly-like substance, and something similar inside where enzymes and everything are found. So if I put this inside, then that represents the endomembrane system. But just linking up the 2 grana, this white piece of polystyrene, that would be the intergranal lamella, okay, like that. And then there would be many more grana. So if I pop that in here, and then I've got an elastic band, that would represent the DNA, and of course I have a squash ball, all right? So that would represent the starch granule, and I even have some little seeds, so those would represent the ribosomes. So because there's DNA here, all right, the DNA has the genes which instruct the ribosomes what proteins to make, and the proteins that the chloroplast will make are enzymes to control photosynthesis, and then glucose is produced, and it could be stored as starch granules. And you know, if I just put my Tippex lid in here, that could represent a little oil droplet. So the glucose can also be stored as oil. All right, now these membranes, just like any membrane, they are partially or differentially permeable. So things move in and things move out. So oxygen and glucose would go in, and carbon dioxide and water. Okay, carbon dioxide and water would pass from the cytoplasm into the chloroplast. Glucose would be made. It can pass out as well as oxygen. All right, and then that can be used by the mitochondria. So there's a simple little plastic bag representation of what a chloroplast could look like. All right, let's just share screen. Okay, so this is the diagram that I normally give blank, and I will put a blank copy onto Google Classroom as well. So you can see here, there's a double membrane. There's an outer membrane, a lipid bilayer, and an inner membrane. All right, there's a fluid-filled space between them. We don't really need to know that. The stroma, or the dotted area, and then obviously there would be cytoplasm on the outside. And these are the little discs, the thylakoid discs, or membranes. Okay, we call them thylakoids, and they contain chlorophyll. And each stack is called a granum. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grana here. and they're linked up by the colorless, longer membranous structures called intergranal lamellae. Okay, there's the DNA, and these little, let me just see, the ribosomes will be all the little dots. So the DNA instructs the ribosomes what proteins to make, the enzymes that are needed for photosynthesis, and then the glucose could pass out with oxygen, and or it could be stored as starch in these starch granules or grains, or as lipid droplets. So what we could also add here is showing that carbon dioxide and water enter the chloroplast, and then the waste products, well, the waste product, oxygen leaves, and that can be used by mitochondria, and glucose is produced, which can be stored here or inside the cell, can move into the cell, or used for energy. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to upload as well, something called the endosymbiont theory, which explains why eukaryotic cells have mitochondria, all right? And it also explains why plant cells have got chloroplasts. You need to watch that video next.